Yo, what is going on, guys? Tough here, and today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that made me super happy for the first time in like forever. Because I bet you can probably guess, because you probably were all watching this super intense game. But Cloud9 actually finally won a tournament in the first time in like a long time, since like this summer when they were, at their prime, some would say. But yeah, it was pretty dope. They actually managed to come in first place and win the ibuypower Cup, which was happening the last couple days, which is pretty dope. And honestly, I was pretty impressed with their performance. There were a couple times where they looked a little shaky, but they're kind of stabilizing and bringing it back, and they always managed to get these really clutch rounds. And it was pretty dope to watch. It was a lot of fun. Definitely edge of the seat, butt clenching action for sure. If you guys were into that and watching the game, which I wasn't, pretty freaking intense, to be honest with you. But I kind of want to talk about this and what it means for like the NA scene and North American Counter-Strike just in general, because it was debated for a long time, ever since Cloud9 sort of fell into this slump, which they've been in for the past couple months, after having an outstanding performance this winter, or this summer, sorry, probably taking down top teams like Fnatic and TSM, or not TSM, Envious, and really just showing that NA had a decent hope at becoming a top team and a contender against a lot of the top European teams, which have always been notably better than North American teams. However, after that, they had a really bad major and fell into this slump, and they just haven't been able to come out and win games yet. And then while they're having this like sort of drop in performance, a lot of other NA teams are really stepping it up. CLG was really dominant for a period of time, and then Liquid sort of added Hiko to their roster, and then all of a sudden they became really good. And now there's like these three top teams that are competing for the best, and Cloud9 hasn't really proven themselves recently. And Liquid was sort of the up and coming. They've built this amazing roster, blah blah blah. You've got Nitro, Lige, Fugly, Hiko, and Adren all playing really well. Like, is this the next combination to be the NA all stars pretty much? And then CLG, who have sort of silently always been there, and then all of a sudden have like a really standout game where they upset huge teams, or they just, I don't know, they're fairly consistent, but I feel like they get put on the back burner a lot. And they're sort of the unsung hero of the North American scene. They're very flavor of the day. They sort of either play really well or just play moderately or okay. They never really have like a piss poor say that 5 times fast. Piss poor performance. There we go. But yeah, they sort of chill and hang out and play their game and do whatever. And then recently, I forget what tournament exactly it was. It's pissing me off that I can't remember, but Conquest, which was a team built out of the X Elevate roster, if you guys didn't know, sort of known for their really like puggy strats, and they sort of just like burst out onto a site and pretty much just try and out aim everyone, which for some reason tends to work really well. And they actually managed to take down a couple big European teams like Dignitas and things of the like. So people were like, oh, now there's like 4 teams sort of competing. And then Conquest having their big performance at that the past land, I forget what it was. All of a sudden everyone's like, okay, so can Conquest compete with Liquid, Cloud9, and CLG for being sort of the top American team? And then Complexity sort of always been on the back burner, have been struggling recently, and sort of are a meh team. Like, their roster is either really good or really bad, depends on the day. They're kind of inconsistent, and no one really knows about them. But Conquest sort of got shut down in the ibuypower Cup. Didn't really make it very far. Didn't even make it to the semifinals or grand finals. So sort of hard to see them perform so well at a LAN against European teams, then come back to NA and sort of choke, I guess. I wouldn't call it a choke, though. They weren't really expected to make it that far. Everyone sort of figured it was just a one-time thing. They performed really well one weekend and then came back and just sort of dropped the ball, I guess you could say. But yeah, for Cloud9, I guess you could say this needed to happen. They needed to win this ibuypower Cup, mostly because a lot of people are starting to lose faith. They're just not putting up the results that they have been in the past, and then all of a sudden it's like, how can you go from being a team competing with the top Europeans and playing at that like the highest level of Counter-Strike that there is on the competitive esports side of things, and then all of a sudden drop to this like not even top in the NA scene anymore. So it's like, it was sort of weird for a lot of people to watch them go from the top or close to the top in the world, or having the potential to be one of the top teams in the world, to not even being the best in their region. So it was important for them to win this, but also it sort of settles things in the NA scene. I would still, personally, I still think that Cloud9 is the best North American team. Now, a lot of people are like, well, you know, they still had some shaky results, right? They didn't really perform as, you know, dominantly as they have been in the past, and it wasn't like they were convincing wins either. There was no, you know, super blowout scores where they just took an entire half or won like 16-5 or 16-6. No scores like that. They were all pretty close, especially the grand final with Liquid, you know, going to overtime and stuff like that. A lot of rounds that they should have won and didn't, and just like mistakes they're making that I feel like even they knew were just sort of silly and dumb and cost them a lot of rounds. But still, in the end, they managed to pull through and win against Liquid, which is a great game. And it sort of reestablished confidence in them. They're like, okay, so Cloud9 is still the best team in NA, in my opinion. I'm not saying that they are, but a lot of, you know, debate is out there about, you know, oh, well, Liquid still played really well, which they did. They took it to 3 maps, which is, you know, absolutely pretty fantastic if you ask me. It was fun to watch, super intense. But you got these 3 teams, these 4 teams, I guess you could say. Luminosity also performing really well. I don't know if you want to count them as a North American team, like they're from Brazil, they're boot camping or landing or whatever the heck they're doing in the United States. I don't know if you want to qualify them or count them as an NA team yet. I guess you could argue they are because they're technically living here, I guess. But yeah, they've been performing really well. They had a 16-5 win against one team in the ibuypower Cup, and then had a 16-0 win against Renegades. That is honestly the only 16-0 that I've ever seen watching professional Counter-Strike, and it was so awesome. Just the hype, like during the second pistol round, where it was like, okay, they're 15-0, are they going to do it? It was so intense. It was a lot of fun to watch. Never seen a performance that dominant before. If you guys haven't watched that that map, I recommend you go like download a VOD or something. It was on Cobble, and it was against Renegades. And honestly, if you haven't watched that match, you definitely got to watch it. It was one of the most dominating Cobble performances I've ever watched. It was so awesome. And yeah, like I said, the first 16-0 I've ever seen in competitive Counter-Strike. It was really, really intense and fun to watch. So there's Liquid, there's CLG, there's Cloud9, there's Luminosity, all these teams sort of at the top, and then Cloud9 winning the whole tournament overall, which sort of resecured their faith and honestly sort of, you know, put them back on track to being one of the better teams in North America, if you ask me. But yeah, that was sort of my ibuypower Cup recap. I'm not really sure where I was going with that. Just want to talk about how dope Cloud9 is and how big of a Cloud9 fanboy I am, and that I'm glad that they're back and winning some tournaments and some really nice trophies and prize money and all that cool stuff. Yeah, honestly, I think they performed pretty well. Like I said, no dominating victories, but still sort of just maintaining the, in my opinion, the #1 spot in North America. And a lot of teams to contend with, but I think if they keep up and stay on the track that they are now, they won't have a problem, and hopefully we'll have a better performance in this upcoming tournament at RGN, I think it is. And yeah, they'll probably be pretty good for them. Hopefully we'll see them go to another grand final. That would be sweet. And yeah, we'll see how that tournament goes. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure you leave a like and a comment if you did. And until next time, guys, I will see you all later. Peace.